that calf yet? Get out of the way for me. Crooks out of the way. There we go. Alright. There's a block out there. Gus, you were a piece of meat, sir. So get back in the truck. Good boy. Here we go, Paisley. Easy. Drive around. Here we go. It's up there one next. This bull calf looking pretty good. Ready to go next year. Yearling, there we go. That's the old cow. She's 22. Had a calf this year. It's this bull calf right here sniffing the other bull calf. This little guy right here. It's her calf. Just got poked. Heifers. Last year's heifer. This year's heifers. You're a pretty girl. First calf heifer we got. She had her calf this spring. It's Ruby. She's first calf heifer, cow now, but she was 2 before she's ever bred, or over 2. We got her and we bred her. She hadn't been exposed for 2 years, so she's probably almost 3 when she had her calf with us. There's the old cow with her calf. That's Gwen. She had a heifer calf this year. She must be in charge. It's bad when everybody doesn't listen. There's June's little heifer May. So she was born, so doing pretty good. Another heifer we bought. Nice February. You're doing all right. I normally do free choice mineral, loose mineral. I think we have this block at the moment. Not a chance there, little bull calf. Just push him around like a dozer. Gus has got a little war paint on. He's got a little mask, some clay on his face. And the water lines that were dug earlier this year is still a little exposed in places. Our first cow since we got back into cattle. So Paisley over here, she registered. That's her bull calf for this year. A2 genetics. So we do have some chondro carriers. Mostly that short cow there who we're still waiting on a calf from for the fall. And the old cow who's her mom. But everybody else, like our bull is chondro negative. And we don't believe we've got any other carriers. Based on the phenotype or how they look. You're doing good. Just came out to check on the cows, waiting for a calf. Since I'm not exactly sure when that one was bred, I had a better idea for the rest of them. What are you knocking around the heifers for? Cut it out, Ruby. Oh, you're tough. They'll get their turn. We got a mineral sled down this the west side of the fence, down there by the timber. You get some more mineral, fill it. So I brought a block out. Since they're not with the sheep right now, they could have copper. They can have a cattle block. Apparently they like the cattle block. Not bad. Had a frost this morning and got up to about 70. What kind of Virginia weather? 40-degree swings in weather. We got 16 Dexters currently. A couple registered. Most of them are just grade or unregistered. Primary business with them is grass-finished beef. So we're not too concerned about registrations. We have enough registrations to keep up with dogs, but really just genetic testing. If we're going to get a registered animal, it's really just so we can bring in something that's a little different than what's already around here and other people's known pedigrees, but also make sure we don't have any genetic disorders, anything heritable. Everybody's waiting for Gwen to be finished with the block. Just had the cows out front, and there's 3 straggler ewes there. It's kind of, not that they were sick, but they didn't get with the group when we loaded the last load to go back to the solar farm, so they kind of snuck out, and then they did have a little bit of lameness, and we treated that. So anyway, there's sheep in the front of the farm, a few of them, and we don't want to put a cattle block out with the sheep. The copper concentration is too high in the block while we're between mineral here. Little man, I just got done saying we're not going to have no more chondro. No short-legged cows. But we're getting ready to sort him and the old cow, who's coming to see what I'm up to because I'm near him. Landowner on another farm that we kind of rent our farm partner on. He's thinking about the old cow and him, the bull calf, for meat. He's gonna get her ground, I think, is what he's talking about, and then he'll be probably individual cuts next year. And this little guy, we gotta decide. He'll be our beef for 2026, one of them, or if he'll be keep him back for breeding for a little bit because he was out of Paisley. We like our original cow and the original bull, and he goes back to both of them. Gus is the main bull right now. He's heterozygous polled, so half of his calves would have horns and half wouldn't in theory, if you follow the Punnett squares, and so a quarter of the heifers potentially would have horns. So we're just wanting to get away from the horns for if we can get these cattle on solar. Yes, there's dogs in the back of the truck and dog food, which you're not having. Yeah, we're exploring getting cattle on solar farms if we get them built to withstand any sort of activity or pressure the cattle will put on the equipment. But so far the studies have been showing that there's really not as much interaction with the equipment as people were concerned about. But there's still things like protecting the combiner boxes and making sure we keep cows out of any ponds that may still have water in them, even though the intention is for the basins to remain dry. But you know, chain link fence and gravel pads and things like that. But Gus here he's got A2 milk genetics too, so we're primarily beef operation. We're keeping an eye on long term the milk production value of these animals too, and not just for ourselves, but other people might want to buy replacement. Like I said, we don't do registered stock, but who knows, in the future we might go more that route. With genetic testing, you can pretty well tell parentage and make sure there's nothing other than Dexter in there up close. Well, we prefer the horns, but there are people that don't. And so between our potential solar opportunity down the road, you know, you're within the next couple of years more than likely. So we've got some time. Between that and people that don't like horns for whatever reason, safety or aesthetics or, you know, whatever reason, then we'll offer animals that are polled as well. People looking for a polled bull, that sort of thing. But it'd be heterozygous polled more than likely, because I don't know that any of our other cows carry polled genetics. Time to lay down. You discharge or anything? You're swollen on the back end. Bag isn't too big. Stop. Trying to cast some shadow. I don't see any discharge from the correct place. Definitely got a waddle going on. Bagged up, but not a huge amount. It's hard to tell on her if she's dropped, the calf's dropped at all, because she's kind of barrel shaped anyway. So we'll just keep checking. Go ahead, let someone else have a turn. So we got 16 Dexters. Like I said, one's the old cow and her bull calf. And we've got a mature bull, a yearling bull, and everybody else has cows and heifers. To give you an idea of, you know, how many cows we should expect next spring. Three to five are young heifers, so probably won't be bred. Shouldn't be bred yet. A lot of people will try to breed their Dexters about 15 months of age or older. So we'd have to keep an eye on the bulls being with these younger heifers. But we should, expecting I think 6 or 8 calves, if my math is right, just offhand. 6 or 8 calves in 2025. Hopefully all heifers, because we do some beef sales, but it's still a fairly small enterprise for us, so we don't have a ton of freezer space. But we get it USDA inspected. It's all grass-fed, grass-finished, no grain. These animals haven't had grain since they've been here. A little bit in the winter, I guess, when we were feeding sheep here too, because the sheep are getting bored with the hay. We're losing weight while we were between solar grazing contracts. So they did get a little bit of grain then, but it wasn't significant for the cattle. We're trying to keep that. We would put them on the other side of the fence and then feed the sheep. They'd get mad about it, but they were doing fine on their grass. Sheep were nursing lambs at the time, so between being here in winter and getting bored with food, but most of the time we don't feed our sheep any grain either. We have enough land with our solar grazing contracts to a targeted grazing program that we don't feed anything to the sheep either. So if you get lamb from us, it's grass-fed and grass-finished too, by intent and functionality and actuality. Just inputs are too much. You talk to the Australians, or you talk to people out in Colorado that feed lambs, there's no margins in it. It's a wonder they make any money at all. They just make up for it with volume. But the more animals you feed, the more feed you gotta buy. So we just feed grass. Buy in our hay. We don't have hay ground or hay equipment. My grandparents had all that stuff. Grew row crops, combines, tractors. We just don't have a need for it. We just got a tractor. We started this farm 3 years ago, and we basically just got a decent sized tractor. John Deere 950 when we first got back, just to bush hog the fields when we started, so we could put in fencing. Now kids climb on it for the pumpkin patch pictures. 1980 John Deere, or 81 John Deere 950. But yeah, we just got just a little tractor from Rural King up in Martinsville, west of us, about 20-25 miles. Use it for the gardening side of the thing, pumpkin patch, spreading wood chips and compost. But we don't have a corn planter or anything. We plant corn and vegetables by hand. Pumpkins we plant by hand. Do up to 8 acres, depending on how you count it, of produce. Pumpkin patch. Oh. About 800 sheep. Well, 800 ewes, probably about 1,000 sheep, depending on the time of the year. Sell the ram lambs off and between lambings. And so far, 16 cows, soon to be 14, and then we'll calve in the spring. Just keep growing our herd. Started with 2 Dexter cattle. Grandparents and most of our extended family raises Angus and Herefords or crosses, black baldies, for the most part. But we got into these because we just want to do grass. We didn't have a lot of land. So we've been growing the animals as we've grown our access to land, either rental farms or targeted grazing contracts on other properties like solar. Love to do orchards and vineyards. We just haven't connected on that yet, other than doing some consulting and some site visits. So solar is where it's at right now. Power line right of ways you could do with sheep and goats, especially with the no fence collars that we've used in the past. We did a pilot with no fence on those. Just need more availability of those collars, that technology. Anyway, thought y'all would enjoy a little bit. Come in and check on the cows, looking for a calf, waiting for a calf. It's like watch pot. Watch the cows for a little bit as the sun goes down. Give them mineral block. Now that they're separate from the sheep. We do run a flurd here anyway on this farm most of the time. We have at home too, but our home farm is just 30 acres and half of that's timber. So we're working on some silver pasture, getting it opened up. And 2 rental farms we have, farm partnership, whatever you want to call them. They're about 120 acres apiece. This one's got some timber on it, more than the other one, but it about 70 acres of pasture, I guess, and then some timbered pasture. It's not really silvopasture. There's brush and some other things that they'll eat. The cattle will eat, the sheep will eat, greenbrier and honeysuckle and things like that. But there's not much growing in the understory. But we're trying to stay out here in the open, stay away from green acorns that are dropping, especially these young cows. Our herd's kind of skewed young right now because we're growing. This farm got, landowner got a grant because the animals in here fencing some of the timber out, and creek bottom, which the hope is that it'll eventually become more of a perennial stream than seasonal creek that it is, or just an event. When it rains, it has water in it sometimes. And there's some cross fencing, so there's 9 paddocks on this farm. So we graze the cow. They're different sizes, but we graze the cows. Right now it takes us, with our rotation, about a month to get around those 9 paddocks on, like I said, about 70 acres of pasture. We have decent grass growth right now. But this farm was overgrazed and hayed to exhaustion before that. Before that, it was intensively cropped for tobacco. So it's pretty well just clay. But if you get down in the creek areas and in the timber, there's more loam than we have at our farm. Our farm is basically clay. There's potential for better soils here. So we add organic matter with the livestock. We're starting to see some good grass results. Life coming back to the place, dung beetles and more birds. Current time excluded. There's no birds here at the moment, but usually there's a lot of birds here in the pastures. Yeah, flies are kind of a tolerance. What's your tolerance for flies? As long as we're not dealing with pink eye or too much, weight loss or uncomfortable. The cows don't have big sores or anything. We try to avoid that. But we try not to use chemicals on the animals as much as possible. So we have a tolerance for the flies, and unfortunately they have to deal with it. If it gets bad, we'll have to. But keep them rotating. At home, we rotate. In the past, we rotated poultry through behind the animals. That seems to help. But no poultry on this place. Our long-term goal is to get up to about 100 brood cows. If we didn't buy any more animals, any more heifers or bred cows or anything, it'd be 7 years or so. I did the math, counted for losses and culling and everything, and it'd take about 7 years, up to 10 if you were really slow about it. Like I say, we lost access to pastures and had to pause or cut back periodically or temporarily. But yeah, it's kind of what we're looking. It's like, how can we take Dexter cattle to the more commercial scale around here? We started a group called the Southside Virginia Dexter Cattle group. I guess it's not an association or anything. And really, it's just a collection of farmers that have Dexters around here. We found out when we moved back, there weren't very many people that had Dexters, and then just in the last few years, there's been an increasing interest in the breed, and so now we've got more than 20 farms. We have anywhere from 1 milk cow up to 15, 20 cows. So I mean, it's we're not the biggest, but we're not the smallest. So yeah, hi Paisley. Just trying to just like I said, not trying to dictate how anybody does anything or what their preferences are or whatever, but how they breed, but just say, okay, well, who's got some heifers available or who's got bull calves available? Because we've had people ask us about, they're expressing interest in growing out bull calves. Like, would we sell bull calves for them to grow out? I'm like, yeah, once we get more animals, and if you want to buy stockers or you want to buy feeder calves, yeah, that's fine. Be happy to fulfill that desired once we have them. And so how can we work together? And we swap bulls, and we borrow bulls from the Donegans over on Irish Road here in Pennsylvania County. It's Lady Blue Farm. They're on YouTube. We bought heifers from Moses Mill Farm here in Chatham, just west of Chatham. Like this little lady right here, one of them. I think we bought three. We bought 3 heifers from them. And then, you know, a guy in Axton. Or, I'm sorry, this is northwest of Chatham. Yeah, you came from northwest of Chatham, didn't you? The Brumfields. Yeah. Yeah, this guy, he helped coach the kids' ball team and see him around town doing different things. So, anyway, he's got some Dexters. And we've got, let's see, where did oh yeah, that's where June came from, is the lady and his wife in Axton, Virginia. They're getting up in years and they're just getting out of their cows. And the lady we bought some goats from in the past, she got the milk cow and a calf from him, and we got her. And then she had her heifer, so she's out of a different bull than what we have. We've got a lot of genetic diversity. So Gwen and the short cow and the old cow came from Charlotte County. Andy White over there, Big White Truck Enterprises, Midway area. And they all calved. Some of them when we first got them, we had calves out of his bull, and we sold 2 bull calves out of cows we got from him. And then we got a homegrown bull processed for this year. Sold beef at the farmer's market, Danville and Chatham. Yeah, all the things we're going to write down and put in a spreadsheet. So like, it's not really pedigrees, but we keep track of our genetics just the same. And then Gus came from, he originally bred up northwest of here in the Blue Ridge Mountains, but got him in Tohono, which was east of here a few hours on the Middle Peninsula. But they had him since he was a 6-month-old calf. But he just turned 4, 5, I think it's 4. Look at his papers. So we're hoping to get some spring calves out of him. Bring a little different genetics, a little better, beefier animal. Yeah, so like I said, we've got genetic diversity on the origin of the cows anyway. And some bulls, other people's bulls, because we got bred cows or borrowed other people's bulls. He's sniffing the truck. And now it's a matter of getting them, not necessarily more, well, I guess consistent, for lack of a better word. Is if we can get Trip, that'll do, lie down. Trip likes to work cows. Yeah, get a little more consistency in the, we kind of got milky types. People tell you don't exist, but there's Gwen. She's a milky type. She, built like a milk cow, her hips stick out, and she's had just as much food as everybody else. She's been here for 2 years now or something, and raising calves, no problem. So she's kind of a more milk type, and then we got more beef types, and then we got, I don't know, not the greatest conformation. Sorry. We still love you though. You raise your calf, so we'll work on it. She's got to start somewhere. But the bull that we used to get, like, say, these heifers, was out of Paisley, our original cow, last year in an outside bull, and they look pretty good. And that yearling bull, he's out of yet another bull that we borrowed, I guess, again, from the Donegans. Both of those, that's where they originated. One was a bull we called Ferdinand. They had another name for him. And the other one, Bandit, we borrowed. But I don't know if we got Bandit necessarily at the right time. But, I'm sorry, Paisley's calf last year, that we used as a bull last year, 2 years ago. She's had 3 calves. He was out of our original bull in Paisley, and then Ferdinand was that we borrowed from the Donegans. Is how we got that yearling bull over there. It's trying to spar with Gus. It's twice his size. I say we are going to separate them out just so we don't, we're building some lots at home, about 4.5 acres of cow panel lots where we can put either the bull, which is probably the preferred option, or the heifers if we need to, or bull calves, periodically. It's just this farm is mostly pasture. It's got a good corral for standard sized cattle, but it doesn't have pens or anything if you need to house something for like up to a week. Where like you go to the processor, like we have to load him the day of or the day before, night before we take him to the abattoir. We had to go drive through the woods, walk the cows through the woods, cross the creek and the crossing, and get everybody in the corral, and then get them into the crowding pen in the chute, and separate the cows out that way. So if we just had a spot where we could take them when they were ready, or we need to get them away from these heifers, or get the heifers away from them, we can take them for a time and put them on pasture away from the bulls. So. Up until now, before we got Gus here, it was, well, we'll just breed the bull and then go get him processed, or give him back to the owner, and that's been good. But now we kind of have this natural herd going on here where we've got multiple males, and I guess it's sort of like a bull. Hopefully he's sound breeding condition. I know he had calves at least in 23, so that are registered with Legacy, the ADCA. So I mean, you can lose breeding soundness at any time. So we do have a backup. In theory, this bull calf, where'd he go? The yearling bull could breed if we needed some backup, but yeah, the hope is it's gonna be Gus, because he's just got more sound genetics than a lot of else we have going on. We do the same thing with sheep. It's like, how do you improve your sheep flock? Your herd genetics with cattle. It's like, well, you get a good bull, keep back your heifers, and then get another good bull, or raise your own bulls after that for a while. Combination of thereof. Some grassing in your mouth. Well, at least we got somebody else on the mineral block now. But I thought, we'll put the block here and I'll keep the cows around so I can film and talk about things. But they follow me around anyway. I mean, they were coming up. I didn't film it because one of the heifers had gone stepped through the fence. This cross fence isn't hot at the moment. So anyway, these heifers stepped through, so I was opening the gate. But they were all walking. They heard me, and they were all walking up anyway. Whenever we show up, they have food man and food lady. Jess is food lady. I'm food man, and they think they're gonna move or get something good anyway, and they did. They got a mineral block this time. But Gwen, what are you doing? Trying to get everybody to follow you? Yeah. Sun's going down. We're working sheep up in Woolwine today on the other rental farm or partnership farm, whatever you want to call it. Did take a little video of that. We'll see, but it has to be stitched together. This is kind of a one-shot deal. Oh, Gus, what do you think about that? June coming into heat. Yeah, like I said, if we had 6 or 8 calves out of him in the spring, it wouldn't hurt my feelings. Especially if they all are heifers. Not that I mind bull calves, boys. Gotta have beef. But we're in growth mode. And since we've had Dexter's, what's it, 3 years? We've lost 1 calf. We had one of the heifers was bred when we got her, and she was probably bred too young. She lost one. Kind of hung up, but mom's fine, so hopefully she'll breed back for the spring. We won't have to sort her out. Where are you boys going? I mean, he's not a bad looking bull calf there. He's just Short-legged. The cows are getting bored with me, starting to wander off, realizing they're going to have to wait their turn for the mineral blah. All right, you two. They're not as close as they looked. But yeah, Gus is a nice looking bull. Like I said, he's 6 months old, and they had him the whole time. I think he turned either 4 or 5 in September. I have to look. I want to say it's 4. But he's got several years left in him, and hoping we can get other folks around here to breed to him or get a bull out of him, or get, you know, because we're planning on keeping the heifers. That's the hope. Yeah, getting his genetics more influence, so greater influence right around here, and then, you know, while he's got his time. And, you know, Dexter's black is the most common. We do like the red. I'd like to get some done. Hoping to get some more done in here one way or the other. You know, we like the diversity in the colors, and it's probably better for the heat. Winter, probably not, you know. Black is probably good, but contrary to popular belief, you know, we do get below freezing in Virginia. We had a frost this morning. A couple winters ago, we had some 10 below weather. Thankfully, the cows grow a decent coat in the winter. But yeah, color-wise, one thing my grandpa said is that, you know, with his cows, they always put, and he said when he was a kid with sheep too, is they have one of a different color for every 10 that they have. So we've got 2 red cows out of this group of almost 20. So it's not, we're not quite there ratio-wise, it's just the way it worked out. But so we get up and we say, well, are the red cows there? Yeah, okay, then everybody should be there. As long as you don't hear anybody bawling or, you know, stuck behind a fence or separated. It's a better trick when you've got hundreds of animals, or in the case of sheep, thousands of animals. There, Gwen, nobody wanted to follow you over there. I'm going to shut that gate. I'll let the other cow back in here. Don't want to follow me out. Did you have your calf already? You had a calf last year. If you're running out of this year, you better hurry up. Why get in my space? Because I'm a Dexter and I'm docile. You got a baby in there? Hmm? I'm not gonna let you touch me. You're not a petting cow. Well, with the current pasture growth and forage, we should be able to easily get through a significant part of December, if not all of December, without feeding hay to the cows over here. But we'll see. We'll mix it up. We're just giving them a bale, just offer bales. They're still grazing anyway. So we got multiple good sources of hay pretty close. It's not that expensive. Excuse me. Well, guess we'll go ahead and get out of here. 40 minutes of watching cows lick a mineral block. Hope y'all enjoyed it, got something out of it. You know, like and subscribe, all that stuff everybody's been saying for 10 or 15 years on YouTube. Appreciate it. Catch y'all next time.